Sorry, I forgot.
Alright, you gotta restart this.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Hello, Blockey Sports Network. Welcome back to Blockey Hockey. Game 4 coming underway. Carolina coming off of an upset win against Orlando without their star player Pluds. Go Spirit. What do you think Carolina needs to do to bring the series back to Game 5 and win this one here?
I think on the first line, they need to play a little haram ball against Jail, as Jail's looked fantastic lately. And I think Siffin just needs to show the true star he is tonight and score all the goals for this team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Siffin with a very clutch goal in the third period to bring the game into overtime. Orange Panda, looking at the goalie matchup, it's looking like Nixies and Mimi. Who do you think has the edge in that?
Well, I always like to give the lead to Mimi. He seems, he's always been very consistent throughout his career, and I can't really say the same for Nix's. Of course, they both had a great game last game, but Nix is historically very prone to oversliding and making a mistake here and there. So I think the series is going to depend on whether Nix's can really stay cool, calm, and controlled this series.
Yeah, Vesna nominee Mimi. A lot of people said Nixie should have been there too. It's up for debate. Baba Bobo, do you think Orlando, is going to this? What kind of mental do you think they need to go into this game?
I think they need to go into this game thinking that they're going to win the game, maybe, and give it their all because, yeah.
All right, good analysis. Go Spirit. Back to you. Can you analyze the game?
Yeah. These two teams, kind of one superstar versus the other on both lines. I will say, besides Siffin, I think Siffin has the advantage on the second line with how he was playing the other night. But first line is going to be very dominant from Orlando this game. Jail is just a much better player than Top Rages right now. I think that's going to be the big matchup we kind of have to watch to see if Orlando wants to go to the finals.
Yeah, I also agree. Do you think Messwith is gonna have the same impact he did last game? Overtime goal. He was playing very well. Do you think he's gonna keep up that performance?
I think so, especially playing with, I believe, Siffin. Siffin will take a lot of the focus off of him, allow Messwith to kind of do his thing. Maybe hit another Michigan tonight. We'll see. But I do think he'll have a good night.
All right. Score predictions, Baba Bobo.
3-1 Orlando.
Orange Panda.
I'm with him there. I'm thinking 3-1 Orlando too.
Go
I
see
think they lucked out last game.
1-0 Carolina.
I have the same thing. All right, back. We're sending up to commentator Youppi.
Welcome everybody to Carolina tonight. We have a game 4 between Orlando and Carolina. Last one was a nail biter, so we can hope for the same thing once again tonight as we get the face off between Booty and Top Rages. As the game gets underway, Jail is going to drive that into the offensive zone, fighting with Top Rages. Top Rages, interestingly, moved to the first line near the end of Game 3, which led to a big momentum shift for Carolina and allowed them to take the comeback in that game, pull off a comeback in that game, and keep themselves alive in this playoff run. Jail in the corner now, trying to get it past Top Rages. Top Rages giving chase, though, around the goal. Meeting Messwith, the one who scored the golden goal in Game 3. Top Rages trying to get this past Jail. He's unsuccessful. As Jail's going to take it out of the corner. Looking for a shot there. Stopped by Camper. Messwith driving this around Vizzo. Into the offensive zone corner. Carolina's going to take a line change while he does so. Siffin on the ice now. And he's going to try to meet Jail on the other side. Jail just stalling time for his teammates to get off the ice as Mushy will collect that puck on the boards. Mushy notably had a somewhat quiet last game, did get on the board, but not playing as well as we'd hoped against this somewhat weaker Carolina team, as Shoulder XD looks for a chance there, and it's stopped in the middle by Carolina. Siffin behind his own net, trying to break the puck out. Stopped by Shoulder. Siffin hitting it out. Pass up. Shot on Mimi. Saved. Moya now breaking the puck up the ice. It's going to be picked up by Siffin. Siffin. Driving it into the offensive zone. Going to be hit out of the Orlando zone and stopped by Moya. Packers looking for a shot there from deep. It's going to be a save by Mimi, and he's going to play it to his own corner. Shoulder looking for some corner tech now, but he's going to be stopped by Moya, and he's eventually going to force it out, but no one there to receive it. Top Regis. Recovering this puck. Hit away by Moya. Moya turning it over to the other team by accident. And Orlando taking a TMM there. And we're going to have the play called dead on a TMM. It seems like there might be a bug. We might have to restart the game. I think I might know why. Rated, why are you asking to be let up? Do you know what it is? Okay, I think I know what it is, but we do need probably a server restart. There's a game at MNS. Is that a real game? Somebody tell me if the game at MNS is a real game. Ah. Is it just a scrim? Who's playing matches right now? Sorry, folks, for the delay. It appears there are some technical difficulties.
It's a scrim.
Okay, wonderful.
Inside word.
Thank you so
You're gonna
much.
hit the restart button.
Yeah. Allow me a moment, folks. I'm gonna we said let's do a quick break. 7 Josh, can you send it to intermission?
Toxic. Somehow you're fine with it, even when I'm chaotic. You see the shade in the cold, it's just my bad temper. What am I supposed to do when the flames going high with my bad patience? I hate it always falls on you. But you know it's not about our love fading. You know it's not about. Not about us. You know it's not about us. You know it's not about us. You know it's not about us. My bad temper, what am I supposed to do when the flames going high with my bad patience? I hate it always falls on you. But you know it's not about our love fading. You know it's not about. Yeah, you know it's not about our love ending. You know it's not about. It's not about us. You know it's not about us. You know it's not about us. You know it's not about us.
Welcome back, everybody. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We are back. Game restarted here in Carolina. We were about 3 minutes into the first period, but due to some technical difficulties, we had to start from the top. As we're going to get the same line starting out, Top Rages versus Jail on the face-off. And we are now underway for Game 4, for real this time. Vizzo receiving this puck in his own end. He's going to P3 it up, right to Camper. Camper's going to send it right back to Messwith, who's going to put pressure on Jail in the offensive zone now. Messwith trying to turn this around, stopped by Jail. Jail cutting in front of his own goal, whiffing a little bit. Messwith with a chance to take a P3. Not sure what happened there. I think Jail might have been the one to connect with that. Pretty interesting sequence. Jail a little bit antsy with the puck in front of his own net, just fumbling it there. But now he's going to go all the way down the ice, stopped by Camper, who is just like Moya in the sense that both of them have been lights out with the shift to block these last couple games for Carolina. Top Rages pass into the middle, shot into the right corner, and Messwith scores! The hero from Game 3 gets on the board first and gives his team the lead less than a minute into the game.
Top Rage is playing really well to start this game. I feel like he's playing really simple. Made a nice pass to the slot, and Messwith was able to bury it. It was kind of a P roller. Nixus might have been able to save that, but it's still tough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those are some really hard shots to save. Nixie's kind of known to be a more foundational, fundamental goaltender. And I know that's kind of, what he dies by is he's going to make those really easy positional saves every time, but he can't promise to bail you out. And I think that's what a lot of people argued in the award voting, as he was recently arguably snubbed from being a Vezina finalist in favor of some wonderful goaltenders like Zaspixel. Packers bringing this puck up the ice now. Back checked by Siffin. It's going to end up in the corner for Shoulder. Shoulder with a pass to the middle to a very dangerous Mushy, but he's not able to connect as Shoulder's going to try to drive this back into the zone. Siffin now picking this puck up, driving it into the corner. Looking for a pass to the middle. Shot there, and he scores! Bots connects with Siffin for the second goal of the game for Carolina, and we're barely a minute in.
Orlando, I feel like all season have been known for their great slot shooting ability and slot defense, but it's just kind of all crumbling here tonight. I'm not sure what's going on. Their defense looks lazy, to be honest. So does their forwards. They're just not taking the puck.
Yeah, I have to agree. And it seems that the absence of Jaime Aholic and, them trading all of their non-HLers away has left them with just John Juco to be their defensive sub on that second line. And you can't really expect much from somebody that's just coming out of JBHL for to take up a big responsibility like that. As we get back underway now, Siffin turning it over to Shoulder in neutral ice, but it's going to be taken back. Bonds with a shot there from the middle of the ice. Great pass by Siffin as they get another high danger opportunity, but Nixies finally finds the save on that one. Doggin in his own end, hitting this past Bots. It's going to be picked up by Packers, also known as Mushy. I'm going to probably switch between calling them both names. Mushy driving it into the offensive zone, right to Moya. Moya's going to P3 it right back, though. And now Jail with it. Looking ahead at the entire Carolina team, opts to take it himself. Top Rages trying to turn this puck around, maybe a little too prematurely, but he's going to be able to recover and stop Jail from playing off one of his corner moves in his defensive zone. Top Rages carrying it up, pulled off of him by Messwith, who's had a fantastic last two games for Carolina, stepping up when they needed him in the absence of Bloods. And now Camper P3ing this up to Top Rages. Top Rages picking this off Vizzo. Top Rages with a chance to shoot. Save Nixies. And he's going to play it back into the corner for Top Rages. Top Rages losing that corner battle to Jail, but he's hot on his tail as Jail's just going to have to turn this right over to Camper and end up back with it in the corner. Jail looking for a shot there. Easy positional save by Mimi as he gets his first of the night. Top Rages hitting it past Jail. Little bit of a hit on the play there. Top Rages driving this down the ice, getting dumped past Vizzo. Ends up in the offensive zone. Messwith applying light pressure to Jail. He's going to get a little more aggressive now. Looks like both teams are looking to get some line changes in. Messwith looking for a shot there. Chance for Siffin, not able to find the net as he sends that one behind the goal. And he's going to keep battling for it. Siffin, pull back, shot chance. And he's unsuccessful as Bots is going to recover it. Doggin in the offensive zone, looking to get a little bit fancy with the puck here. Looking for a pass to the middle. Moya is going to swat that one away. And she's going to try to recover it now in the defensive zone. Shoulder looking to center this. Shoulder looking for a pass into the middle, or maybe a Michigan. Either way, it's not going to make its way there. As Siffin's going to look to break this one out. Great discipline from Siffin there. Carrying it out of his own end. Forcing it all the way into Orlando zone, so they have to reset. Moya recovering this in neutral ice. Giving it to Bots. Bots on the wing. Looking to drive inside, but Doggin's going to stop that chance. Now we're just in the corner once again. Bots with it. Out there with Top Rages. Top Rages back checking this great pullback. 2-on-1 opportunity for Carolina, but Top Rages isn't able to possess that puck well. And it's going to go back down the ice for Orlando. But Top Rages driving this down the middle once again, forcing it back down into Orlando's end. But he's going to get a little too aggressive in the corner, and Jail's going to steal it. Stopped by Messwith, though. This Carolina team has done a fantastic job at knowing when to double up with their teammates and stopping all these chances from Jail. Wouldn't you agree, Ghosty Ferret?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do want to point out, though, that it feels like Jail is playing... Seems a little behind tonight. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's not playing like his usual self.
Yeah, for sure. I'd have to agree. And I heard him all the way from the booth down on the bench complaining to the referee about some hits. Personally, I didn't think any of those were too egregious, but in the heat of a game, I understand. As Top Rages is going to P3 this up for Messwith. Messwith with a chance, but Vizzo is going to recover just in time. As John Juco is going to get a touch on the puck there, P3 it out, but is going to be dumped right back into Orlando's zone. As Jail trying to make some space for himself to get by Messwith, but Messwith with a greatly timed pinch. It's going to be stopped, played into the corner, but now Jail is back into a 2v1 against this Carolina team. They are still doing such a great job at knowing when to take these chances and look for these counter plays. Messwith in the corner. Putting pressure on Booty, also known as Jail, if you were confused. Jail. Driving this up the wall. He's going to dump it past Siffin. Siffin's just going to be completely fine P3ing this right back to Orlando, forcing Doggin to make a play with it. Jail on 10 stamina. Looks like he's going to try to stick this one out. He's going to try to drive this down the wall. Siffin battling for it. He gets the puck towards the goal, but it is swatted away. And now Siffin's going to recover it. Siffin shot up for Top Rages. Top Rages and Siffin now in the offensive zone. Not a lot of time left. Moya turning around. Almost a blunder there by the Carolina defender. But Orlando isn't going to be able to capitalize as we send it up to the booth. Currently 2-0 Carolina.
Carolina with two amazing slot goals, fundamental plays, and now they're up 2-0 in a very important game for Ghost Ferret. What do you think went wrong for Orlando there in those periods, in that period?
You know, I feel like on both lines right now, really the first line, it feels like Jail is just trying to run it down, 3v1 himself. It's really, no matter how good you are, I think it's been shown that's really hard to do that. And it looks like he's gotten into some habits that he had earlier in the season when he wasn't, performing as well.
Yeah. Can't do everything alone. It's a very high level game. The stakes are high. Orange Panda, who do you think on Carolina is really stepping up tonight?
Oh, that's a good question. I really have to give it to, Top Rages so far. I think Top Rages and Siffin both have been, really holding it down. And I think they really benefited from that restart there, because before the restart, the team looked disorganized, dysfunctional. They were getting beat one-on-one. It wasn't going well. But after that restart, it's like a completely different team. They're completely controlling the ice now, and it's just like we have a game now. They've gone from down 2 shots to none to up 2 goals to none after the restart.
Yeah, restart must be a little frustrating for Orlando, and you're dominating and then a sudden halt to the game. Bobo, do you have any analogies for, this 2-goal game here?
I would describe this as a sloth in the wild, crawling its way through the mud, and 2 coconuts just roll right past them, and they can't get a grip. So, if everyone knows what this means, we all do.
What?
We all do. With proceed,
Mhm.
Youppi. Up to you.
Thank you so much, Baba Bobo. And yes, I totally understand your analogy. As we
Those
are
are
about to
wise
get back underway here in Carolina, going into the second period. We apologize for any technical issues on the live stream. We're looking to get that fixed as soon as possible, but for all of you watching live, we are back. As Jail gets into the offensive zone, looking for a shot there, blocked by Camper. Camper looking to break it out. It's going to be picked up by Top Rages, who's going to try to force this all the way down the ice. Jail tries to turn it. Unsuccessful, as Top Rages is going to lock him up and keep that in the offensive zone. Now Jail is going to recover it. P3 it up for John Juco, who has taken a surprise entrance to this first line. Looks like Orlando is getting a little bit, maybe not desperate, but trying to switch things up a little bit going into the second period to stop this Carolina momentum. Top Rages trying to drive this up the wall. Getting into the middle. Top Rages chance to shoot. Paying away by the Orlando defenders as they deflect it off to the side. Nixie's able to clear it away. And now we're all the way back in Carolina's end. Top Rages putting pressure on Jail in the corner. P3 into the middle. Stopped by Bots. He can score in the offensive slot and make plays in the defensive slot as well, it seems. A man of a 200-foot game, if you will. Doggin looking for the pass into the middle. It appears that Shoulder XD will now be the defender on this second line for Orlando. Ghost Fair, what are your thoughts on that?
I heavily disagree with this. For basically those first 3 games of the series, he was generating most of the offense, it feels like. And now having him sit back there, I mean, this just feels like a desperation reach.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about this play by Orlando. Maybe this is just a rotation and they'll switch back to having somebody like Doggin on defense, but maybe Shoulder XD is confident he can shut down this second line that's been so great for Carolina thus far in these past 2 games, ever since this line was changed at least. Packers trying to drive into the middle there. It's stopped by Carolina's defense, and Siffin's now just going to be okay forcing this all the way down the ice. Looks like Jail is going to swoop in, try to take it away from his teammate, give him a chance to get off the ice, which he's actually going to opt to stick around. And now he's going to go. His track with a little bit of room, also known as Jail or Booty. Apologies. So many names for this guy. It's going to be cleared out by Carolina. Back near the Orlando zone, but Vizzo's going to stop that chance before anything comes of it. But Carolina throwing it into the middle there, almost a little bit of danger. Not a lot has been generated from either side so far this period. Jail P3 it right off the pads of his goaltender. Little self-pass there. But Camper is right there to pick that play up, stop it, and give it back to Top Rages. Jail with a little bit of more room, though, this time. So you're going to have to carry it all the way around. Doubled in the corner by Top Rages and Camper. 2 former champions on the Philadelphia Freedom. And 2 of the league's premier defenders. Definitely not the 2 players you'd want to be stuck in the corner with the most. As Top Rages with a pass across for Messwith. And he's going to rig it off the left post. A great chance there for Carolina. Messwith looking for another centering pass. Battling with Jail behind the net. And, you know, Ghosty Fair, to what you said earlier, Jail looking like he's a little behind. I have to agree. He is just not winning the pucks that usually you would expect him to win. He's playing undisciplined. Maybe makes me eat my words, but he's unsuccessful. What do you think Jail has to do to kind of turn this around, Ferret?
I think he has to just trust his teammates more. I mean, he's playing in a 3v1. I don't know if you've noticed, but every time the puck goes into his end, he's immediately there to take it from his defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where he's coming from as another centerman in the BHL. Sometimes in big games like this, you want to take matters into your own hands, but it's hard to do that in a playoff game, especially when the other team is so well aware of what you're doing and they're counter-stratting and planning against you. This is just not going to be good for them if he can't get a little bit more comfortable playing off the puck. As Siffin is going to drive this all the way down the ice, battling with Watt on the wall, getting a little aggressive there. Shoulder XD now at the front of the play. Maybe Orlando's just running some free rotations. Shoulder XD turning this over to Siffin. Siffin dumping it back into his own corner. As he's going to get a little bit fancy with the puck. P1 dangle. P1's up. Hidden to Wad. And he's going to dump it past both of them. But it's going to end up right into the hands of Doggin, who does appear to be the defender on this line. Which I think most people would agree is a better decision than Shoulder being there. Packers there with a chance to shoot from the middle off of a turnover by Moya. Almost able to get his team on the board tonight. but he's going to put that right into the breadbasket of Mitch Miemener, and that's going to be an easy save. Top Rages driving this around his own goal, trying to force this down the ice once again. I think something Carolina's been doing such a good job of this game is being willing to just make the simple play, get the zone entry, and force Orlando to reset and play back into them. I know Ghosty Ferret, we're obviously teammates, won't hide that. But in our series against Toronto, that was something that Toronto was really good at against our second line. Tell me what it's like to, have to deal with a team that's willing to play so simple.
It's really tough, especially in Jail's position where they're just kind of focusing to take him out the game. There's not much that you can really do from a solo perspective. I feel like the only counter for this is to use your teammates, and it just seems like he's unwilling to do that as of now. So I'm not sure how much faith I have in him to bring it back, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I've been in the same position. And yeah, when you're not able to trust your teammates, especially when you're so shorthanded like the Storm are, it puts you in a really tough spot where you know that you have to step up for your team, but to what level should you do that to where you're not diminishing your own performance? As we're going to have a little bit of neutral zone action here as the clock winds down for the second period. Jail looking to get one last opportunity. It's going to be kicked out of the zone by Carolina. And we're going to head up to the desk for the second intermission. Score is still 2-0 in favor of Carolina. Shots 4-3.
Carolina, keeping the lead. And to be honest, Orlando are a little lucky they didn't extend the lead. Carolina had some very dangerous chances in that period. Mesco had two pretty open P3s. He could have scored. But Orange Panda, do you think Orlando has the right mentality, to come back and close out the series in period 3?
I think Orlando. I find it hard to believe that Orlando will come back from this. I think if they were to come back from this, the best opportunity they have is on that second line. Because right now, Carolina's first line is dominating them right now. Honestly, they're making plays, they're dancing around them. Jail's not looking like he can really carry that line, but Carolina's second line, it's possible they could find a hole or something, because as long as Siffin's bringing the only one carrying the puck, they can basically back off of him and let him make mistakes, because they know Moya's not going to be a threat. So all they have to watch is bots up the ice. Maybe they can do some counterplay off that. I don't know, but it up 2-0. It's hard for a team to come back here.
Yeah, I agree. This is very dangerous for Orlando. You do not want to go into a game 5 losing all of your momentum you had earlier in the series. Ghosty Ferret, do you think Carolina is gonna how do you think they're gonna play going in this third period?
Honestly, I think they're gonna keep playing the same way. They have really no reason to change. When you're letting up, when Orlando only has 3 shots in this game, and none of them were from inside the zone, I believe, or really high danger chances, there's just no reason to change how you're playing.
Yeah, yep, I agree. Baba Bobo, do you have any closing thoughts to close out this desk here?
Not really. Except, this game is the opposite from juicy. It's very dry. Things got to get a little more,
You think we'll see another
moist.
goal, Bubba Bobo?
Probably.
All right, back up to you, Youppi.
And I don't know if I can agree with that take from Baba Bobo on the desk. This game has been pretty interesting in my personal opinion. Watching these two teams go at it defensively. Which team will get the next one on the board, as Jail wants it to be him. Pass across for Shoulder. Shoulder looking for a shot there. Mimi with an easy opportunity to clear that one away and give it to his own team. Another shot chance there into the slot. Shoulder XD with a chance. And it appears Orlando has switched their lines once again. Shoulder XD joining the first line in place of John Juco. Messed with, battling with Jail. Jail passing across to Shoulder, and Jail is playing like a totally different player now that he's with Shoulder. These two had their differences not too long ago, but they're putting it aside to get a victory tonight. Top Rages and Jail on the boards. Bring it all the way back into Carolina's end. Jail getting a little bit fancy with the puck behind the net, not able to connect, as Top Rages is now going to drive it all the way down the ice. And he is fine just dumping this into Vizzo. As Jail is going to cleanly win that corner, passing up to Shoulder, but Moya is right there. Talking about some dislike among players. Moya, the clear target of this Orlando team's, they've united under a common enemy of Moya for this playoff series, and they have looked very good for the most part, but Carolina coming out stronger, at least so far. As Siffin is in the offensive zone now, looking to make a play. Passes end up in the middle for Bots. He's not able to make anything out of it. Siffin, pull back, pull back, pull back. Shot, pass into the middle for Bots. Bots, shot chance. Saved by Nixies, as he has plenty of time due to the pass being so slow to get over there and make the positional save. That's what they pay him for, is to make the saves that he's expected to make and not make any major mistakes. Siffin.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
I don't know how I feel about this line change from Orlando. This second line just feels really weak now compared to Carolina's. And I feel like it's kind of shown. They've been in the zone the whole time.
Yeah, I do think that Orlando is in a position to have to pick their poison, though, where with how many players they're missing, one of those two lines are going to have to struggle a little bit. And it seems like they have decided to give Jail all the resources he needs to try to be successful on that first line. And, you know, it almost worked out on that first shift. We'll have to see how it plays out for the remainder of the period, though, as Carolina is going to try to keep up the pressure off of that last shift. Top Rages trying to battle with Jail, looking for the pullback. Not successful. Jail gets around a crouching camper, passes into the middle. Chance there, paying out of the zone by Carolina. And now Orlando trying to clear it out. Shot there. Top Rages rebound. Chance again. And that isn't able to make it back on goal. P3 out. Camper with a great ping. Pass across in the neutral zone. Top Rages chance to shoot. Not able to get the shot away, as it's going to end up in the corner for Jail, who this period has been doing much better on these board battles as he looks to try to drive that inside. But to no avail, as he ends up back in the corner where, honestly, he might prefer. Jail getting a couple hits there. You can kind of see him getting nudged off the puck a little bit. Looking for another corner move, but stopped by Mess with once again. Chance for Jail. Pass into the middle. Nobody can hit it. Shoulder jumps over the puck, but fires it into the corner. Shot pass into the middle. Save by Mimi before Jail can make a connection with it. And now Bots trying to drive this down into the offensive zone, putting pressure on Jail. Jail P3ing it up for Packers. Mushy and Siffin on the boards now. Battling for it. Siffin trying to get it out. Gets it past Mushy. Gets it all the way down into the offensive zone. Siffin playing light pressure. He's going to swap with Bots now to set up the double team. Mushy's going to play right into Siffin. He's going to dump it up to Moya. Moya back to Siffin, and Siffin's going to dump it all the way back down the ice. Mushy trying to make a little self-pass behind Siffin to himself. Doggin gets behind the defender for a moment, but Carolina reacts to that one quickly. As with roughly 2 minutes remaining in the game, Carolina still leading by 2, but a lot of chances coming for Orlando. A big dump in there for Bots. And now John Juco with it in the corner, battling against BHL All-Star. Bots, no, don't forget. He is truly one of the best players in the league, at least at his role. And that has been big for Carolina this entire season. As Siffin. Oh, 4 players for Carolina, and they just blundered. Shot chance there for Orlando. And we're going to have a power play coming up for Orlando. What a terrible coaching blunder from the Carolina Cobras. That looks like something you would have done, Ghosty Ferret.
I have done that before, actually.
You
but
sure have.
I'm not sure what they're doing. I've noticed a lot of the Carolina players starting to whiff more. I can't tell if they're starting to get nervous or, you know, what it is, because a lot of these players on this team are experienced. They have been here before. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between being here before on a team that is expected to win and being on the verge of pushing a game 5 after being down 2-0. I have to imagine that the emotions are high in that locker room for Carolina, and they are still disoriented as they currently have 3 players on the ice. Not sure if they know which players they want out there. Siffin will end up in the box, as they will have Top Rages and Camper on the kill for what will be the majority of the remainder of this game. What do you think Orlando needs to focus on for this power play?
You know, I just think they need to get one in the back of the net. This power play this is essentially the game right here. If Carolina can kill it, they win, obviously, but this is the game for Orlando right here. If you're Orlando and you go to a game 5, you never know what could happen. Anything can happen in a game 5, especially with a team like Carolina that seems to have had the momentum. So we'll see.
Yeah. And Carolina, I don't want to, spoil their milk or anything. I don't know a good saying for that. That didn't make any sense, but I don't want to spoil the fun. But the last time they were in a game 5, it was to the Boston Grizzlies in S26, and they did lose. So a lot of players from that core still here probably wanted to try to end this in 4. Chance here for Orlando on this power play. But Carolina is able to keep it in the corner. Now, Top Rages, one of the veterans you were talking about, knows how to play in these high-pressure situations, and they are staying calm as they're going to back up, wait for that pass. Vizzo, the inexperience on the other end showing as he instantly passes that back up the ice, doesn't take the time he was given, and now it's back behind the net. Top Rages looking to drive this one out, gets by both Orlando superstars, forces it down the ice, and now the power play ends. Top Rages, shot chance there on Nixies, and as the clock dies down, we better start booking our tickets for Orlando. Top Rages clearing it to Siffin. Siffin with a chance. He's just going to settle to keep that in the zone, make the disciplined play, and we are heading back to Orlando for an unexpected Game 5 as Carolina defies the odds and comes back from their 2-0 deficit.
Because it felt impossible in my bones, like getting blood out of the zone on my own. But you came around and removed the thorn in my soul. You guided me out of the storm. I found home in your arms of gold, in your arms of gold, in your arms of gold. I rise from the ashes with pins and patches. We carry on. I rise from the ashes. I heal from your passion. My doubts are gone. Felt impossible in my bones, like getting blood out of the stone on my own. But you came around and removed the thorn in my soul. You guided me out of the storm.
We started.
All right, when are we starting? When are we starting? Are we started?
He counted you down.
All right, all right. Welcome back to the big leagues. We're here, Game 5, Orlando versus Carolina. It's 2-2. The lights have never been brighter. Ghosty Ferret, tell me about it.
So after a thrilling game for Carolina going up 2-0 early in the game, we're here in Game 5 for Orlando. Carolina seeming to have all the momentum, especially with a really big penalty kill there at the end. Expect both of these teams to maybe be a little bit antsy. Players are experienced on both of these teams, but as we saw last game, they are still prone to nerves. I'm going to throw it over to Zaz, actually. I kind of want to hear your opinion on this, as we didn't get to hear a lot from you last time.
What am I hearing about?
How, like, give us your expectations for Game 5 here. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, Game 5, the stakes are at all-time high, and I think this is Carolina's game to win. They came back down 2, but I think Orlando, I think they're just a stronger team. I think, Joe's a great leader, or Booty. I think he's a great leader of a roster, and I think they're going to take out this Game 5 and go to the finals.
Yes, so we're back. Or who hasn't talked yet? Orange Panda?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Orange Panda. Listen, last game, the first 2 periods, Booty was not looking in his primal form, right? And we saw a little glimpse of hope in the 3rd period. Now, in my opinion, his teammates were not. Jonathan Juco, he's pretty useless, and he didn't have
Ouch.
much help. But if they can tell me what Orlando needs to do. Just tell me more.
Well, we're gonna have to see if they keep the same line first off. If they keep shoulder with jail this game, And if they do, they got to start getting in time with each other because Jail was doing a really good job of, getting those passes through. He was getting them off. But the problem was they weren't in time. Shoulder wasn't in the right position. He was jumping over the puck. He was really trying to scramble to even get the shot off, let alone on net and on target. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing. If they keep that same pace they were keeping in the third period, but getting those shots on target, Orlando might have a series here because really Carolina didn't do much past the first period. So I think that's going to be the biggest difference maker here, is seeing if those two can really get in a rhythm with each other.
Yeah, Zaz, Pixel, let's get into some score predictions. Tell me, what do you think the score is, and give me a star player to look out for.
All right. 3-2. Orlando overtime. Star player. Booty.
Go see Ferret.
Give me Carolina 2-1. Just mess with having the goal to send them to the finals.
Orange Panda.
I might be a little biased, but 2-1 Carolina OT Siphon game winner. I need to see my player do some greatness.
Right. And I'll say 2-1 overtime Orlando, star player Booty. Up to Youppi. Sweet.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here in Orlando for another Game 5, the second of this postseason, as we are back underway, as Carolina came back from 2-0 to force this game. Orlando, I do not think expected to be here, but alas, they have a game to win. As Jail looks for a shot there from the top of the circle, and he finds the back of the net early. 15 seconds into the game, he takes over for Orlando, says, "I've got you," and finds the first goal of Game 5.
I'm not sure what happened for Carolina's defense, as they were so strong to start last game, and he just kind of was able to walk in for free. It felt like nobody was really paying attention to him. Top rages just kind of jumping all over the place. That's just a really sloppy start to Game 5 for Carolina. Not what you want.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see. But again, there's a lot of hockey left to go. And Carolina, obviously coming off of a rough end of the last game in terms of momentum, I just don't think they expected Jail to go for that perimeter shot. He seems to always want to go for the deep shot, or the corner shot rather, or corner pass. So definitely a bit of a change of pace, but a lot of game left for Carolina to bring it back. As Messwith is going to put some pressure on Jail. Jail petering it out to Top Rages, who's going to bring this back into the zone. Pass into the middle for Messwith, and it's cleared away by Vizzo. Carolina almost striking back right away, but Orlando able to stay grounded. Shot there from deep by Jail, and once again, he's willing to go for these deep shots, test out the other team's goaltender, something that they didn't really do for most of last game. And Jail willing to take it all the way back to his own zone. Pass for Mushy. Mushy walking around Camper. Pull back. Chance to shoot. And he blunders the opportunity, getting a little too fancy. And Orlando with a clean breakaway to chance to go up 2-0. Nothing there. As John Juco in the corner looking for the middle to pass to Mushy. Mushy with it. Pull back. Chance to pass. Chance to get past Bots. Can't seem to find the puck, though. As Bots looking to drive this around. Stopped by Mushy again. Siphon coming to assist. And he's going to get it behind Mushy. Dump it up to Doggin. It's going to be recovered by Mushy again. Still on the boards here. Carolina looking to just force this down the ice as they did all last game. And that was what kind of worked out in their favor. Chance there for Mushy. Gets Orlando their third shot of the game early. But Mimi's going to gobble that one up. Chance there. Michigan opportunity. Ends up on the stick of John Juco. The rookie is unable to connect. As Siphon now in an ISO with Jail in the offensive zone. Putting pressure on. Now he's just going to run back. Looking to pinch here. He's going to play it back for Messwith and just run right off the ice to get Top Rages out here. Messwith. Unable to make a play up the ice. His shoulder's going to take it from him. As stated earlier, Shoulder, one of the best players for this Orlando team this series. A little bit quiet in these last couple of games, but got an assist in Game 3. Has still been a major factor for this team. They're going to need him to continue to perform if they want to put this game away. As Jail in the corner, battling with Top Rages. It's going to end up going across the ice to Vizzo. Vizzo plays it right to Camper. Is usually why you want to keep your defenders back on defense. They are always in P2, making these heavy touches, and That one's going to end up a turnover right to Carolina. Top Rages, cutting in front of his own net. Very dangerous play. Ends up back with Jail. Panic pass there by Top Rages up to mess with, but he has enough room to maybe do something. But Jail is going to make the easy play. And now Jail driving up the boards. Looking for a chance to shoot. Pang by Camper 51192. Camper trying to drive it all the way up the ice, but stopped by Orlando once again, who have kind of flipped the script this game in terms of the defensive play. Ghosty Ferret, am I crazy in saying that this game has pretty much been exactly what last game was, but Orlando playing the dominant defensive performance?
I would definitely agree with that. But to that as well, I think, Orlando is playing a lot better defensively, but this Carolina team, they don't look like the same team that we saw out there in game 4. Maybe the expectations of winning is kind of getting to them, and, they're just struggling out there.
Yeah, for sure. It's not what you want to see. If we want to see a good game, this Carolina team is going to have to step it up, because right now they're kind of looking like they did at the beginning of game 3, where it was just all Orlando. Maybe the magic is worn off, but we still have a lot of hockey left, as Mushy is going to drive this all the way down into Carolina's end once again, battling with Siffin in the corner. Siffin looking to make a play out. Stopped by John Juco on the wall. Siffin P2ing it out. Ends up outside of the zone. Siffin, nice discipline there to stop that from turning back around. And now Jail with a lot of ice. Looking to get by Top Raiders. Top Raiders with a great play. Stays in front of Jail the whole time. Waits for Camper. Jail makes his way all the way up into the offensive zone now. Battling with Camper, who's looking to just dump this out to his teammate, who's there to receive it. But Vizzo does enough to stall for Jail to come recover. Top Rages in the offensive zone. Pullback. Read by Jail. 2-on-1 now. Kind of. More of a 2-on-2. Couldn't see up off the screen. Camper. Defending Shoulder coming out of the corner. Shoulder looking to opt for a pass now to Jail, but he's not going to connect. And Camper's going to recover this one and look to force a chance here. The defender, who took a little bit of an adventure into the offensive half of the game these past couple seasons, back to his natural position, has been great for this Carolina team, and surprisingly good offensively as well still. Even in his defensive defender position, he knows how to make stuff happen when he gets the opportunity. As he's going to break it out for Carolina, up to Siffin. Camper, P3 it up for Siffin. Siffin looking for the pullback. He's going to whiff on it. Shoulder's going to get it right back. And now Camper driving this up for Siffin. Siffin just kind of waits for it. Bit of a miscommunication there from Carolina. Is this just going to stay on the wall for even longer? Pass it in the middle for Mushy. Mushy whiffs on it. Chance to get around, but it's played into the corner. Cleared up by Siffin. Exits the zone for a moment. Now Siffin is going to put pressure on in the dying seconds of this period. Siffin looking for the pass into the middle. Not able to get it off as that gets stuck in the feet of Jail. And we are headed to the first intermission. Orlando leading 1-0.
Welcome back to the desk. It is 1-0 the Orlando Storm leading in the shots 3-0. I will say this is exactly how I imagined last game would start, but the sun is shining and the wind is blowing. Now, Zaz, tell me, if there's can you give me an analogy in the back of your head to just really flabbergast the emotions throughout this game?
Oh yeah, I actually have an analogy in the back of my dome for Jail. He's like a maestro conducting a flawless symphony. The way he's just controlling the game, and he's being really elite out there.
Perfect. Nice work. Now, Ghosty Ferret, Carolina is looking lackluster to say the least. They're not playing very swell. What do they need to do? Give me some information.
I think they just need to take a breath and compose themselves. I think they just look nervous out there. This is a really big game for them. They had no expectations the last 2 games. We assumed that they would just get swept and then they would roll over in game 4, but they've managed to bring it to game 5, and I think they've just gotten nervous from what it looks like.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Now, Orange Panda, tell me, what does Orlando need to do to keep this lead and maybe grow the lead like a flock of birds flies to the nest?
I think they just got to look for shots here. I think that they've been doing good so far. I think they just got to keep up the pressure. I think they're Carolina kind of came into this game kind of too passive, and that kind of one goal that Jail got took them by surprise. So they really came into this game like it was guaranteed to them 3,000 years ago. So they really got to step up their game and really play like they need to win here.
Yes, can't agree. Don't disagree. Beautiful words across the desk. Back to Youppi.
Thank you so much, Dragon. As we are going to get back underway here with the face-off between Jail and Top Rages. Jail looking for another early chance, trying to put his team up by 2. I hate to say it, but with how this Carolina team is playing, if Orlando gets just one more on the board, it might just be wraps, as they have struggled to get even the easiest saves in terms of chances on the opposing goal. Orlando just snuffing out anything that they throw at them. And now we've got another 2-on-1 for Orlando. Jail looking for a shot. Bumble jumps over to shoulder. Sorry, I didn't realize what was happening. The puck kind of fumbled over to him. Almost a chance to shoot and score, but I don't think he saw that coming. As Top Rages pull back. Threw across to mess with. Looks to force that shot on goal, but Jail's going to stop that. As he drives it in the middle. Past the shoulder. Stopped by Carolina. As Top Rages now going to force down the ice. Top Rages chance to shoot off of the inside. But Nixies is there to make the save. And now it's going to go all the way back down the ice. First shot of the game registered for Carolina. If you're a Carolina fan, that's what you love to see. Seems like their team is finally starting to wake up. As Top Rages is going to give chase around the net. Top Rages pulling that off of Jail. Looking for the middle. Can't find Bots, though. Almost a fantastic chance for Carolina to tie this one up off of a great forecheck by Top Rages, who's going to jump off the ice there on that back check. Wad forcing a weird shot from a bad angle. I have to say, Ferret, I feel like Wad, as great of a player as he is, hasn't been really playing that great these last 2 games.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, from what it looks like, maybe he's a little overconfident. He had a chance to make this game 2-0 early, but he, for some reason, on a clear breakaway, put out a really fancy move. It just seems like he's overconfident to me.
Yeah, and that's not what you want to see in these big time games, as you want players that are able to make the simple, easy plays, put their team up when they get an opportunity to do so. And it feels like Wad, Mushy, whatever you want to call him, is playing maybe a little bit too fancy, playing a little too overconfident, as you put it. And it could cost their team the game. As Siphon starts to win this battle behind the goal, gets a little bit of space. Wad is able to successfully turn this one around, though. As much as we may have just dogged on him, he still has been great with his two-way game. Able to keep the puck in the offensive zone for his team, just struggling to find the back of the net when it matters. As Messwith tries to drive it in, but Jail's going to take it. Jail, pull back, chance to shoot, drives inside, just to the inside, ends up in the short side corner. And now Top Rate is with it. Getting a little fancy with the pullbacks, trying to find something to get Jail off of his tail. Jail looking for a chance to shoot, and he finds the far corner and doubles the lead for Orlando to make it 2-0. And
Yeah,
as I've said, oh yeah, you go.
I said with how Carolina's playing, you said this earlier, I think you're about to say this again, but that might just ice the game. It feels like Carolina can't get anything going.
Yeah, that's one of Jail's patented moves. He somehow finds that far corner in that position. And, you know, it's just one of those plays that you don't think to guard. And yeah, like you said, this is a really tough uphill climb for Carolina. It went from one lucky shot to we're going to have to get some more consistent offense going to bring this game back into reach. But Carolina has proven they're not a team to count out. So there's still a lot of game left for them to figure it out and pull this back. As Top Rages tries to pull this back, maybe they're playing a little too fast paced. I do see them going for a lot of turns when they're under pressure by Jail, who at the end of the day should be the player you're trying to avoid taking these ISOs with out of anybody on Orlando. Shoulder in the corner. Can't make anything happen into the middle. P3 up by Messwith, just willing to dump this down, and Jail's all the way back here to recover it again. And Top Rages is going to chase around the net. gets caught with the pullback, and now Jail with one behind him, bring it up the ice, looking for a shot from deep, and he finds the right corner, gets his hat trick with 2:27 remaining in the second to extend the lead to 3 for Orlando.
There's a lot of hockey left to play in this game, but I think that one's the dagger. Carolina, Top Rage, as you could tell, definitely has more urgency to score goals, but it's just causing him to play way too over-aggressive. He runs through the pullback there, and Jill just has a free lane to the net, open P3, and he's going to hit those if you give him the chance.
Yeah, if you give him enough chances to let it fly from there on bad forechecks, you don't want to, get too mad at Top Rages. Carolina not putting a third player on the ice, I don't think they've realized. I'm not sure what they're doing. Mushy with a chance, but it's going to be stopped by the goaltender. And now Top Rages is on the ice, looking for a chance there off the rush. Going for another turn, given to Dog, and Dog with a chance from deep. Glove down by Miemener. And the crowd has started to die down here in Orlando as, the tension starts to leave the building when you get a lead this big. Orlando gonna do what they can to lock down this lead, unlike what they were able to do in game 3 with, obviously a much smaller lead, but I definitely don't think they expected to fumble that game out of their hands. They look like they don't want to make that same mistake tonight. As a 2-on-1 opportunity starts to develop for Carolina, shot there from Siffin. Easy save by Nixies. Opts to take the shot himself with a wide open bots. When you only have one shot on goal, you can't really blame someone for just wanting to let it fly. Make sure Nixies is still awake back there. Great pass there to Siffin, but Mushy with an even better deflection to stop that opportunity from turning into anything. This Orlando team has been on point defensively. Obviously, when you look at the stats, you think about how great their offense has probably been, but a lot of these chances are coming off of Carolina being unable to do anything with the puck to get down the ice. Siffin trying to battle with Mushy here on the wall. On 10 stamina, he centers it for shoulder, but Mimi's going to grab that one, play it behind his own goal. Minute remaining in the second. 3-0 Orlando. Shoulder XD behind the Carolina net, looking to do something with it. Maybe extend that lead to 4, looking for the centering pass. As he's just down to go back and forth for as long as he has to get the chance he wants. But now Camper tries to take it out. Camper had a step, but Top Rages tries to pull it off of him. Again, we talk about that urgency from Top Rages, potentially biting his team in the butt. And, it's still showing as he is not adjusted to this extreme increase of pace of play that he's been playing with that has caused this Carolina team's fantastic, play style that they adjusted to for this series to fall apart. Camper and Top Rages on the back check now. Top Rages still on top of his defender, not giving Camper any room to play with the puck, which, unlike what they've been doing before, it seemed like they were a pretty well-oiled machine. As we're going to head back to intermission, and it is looking grim for Carolina.
Come back to the desk. It is 3-0 Orlando Storm. They're up 6-2 in the shots. Now, as a player that we were talking about at the beginning of the game, Booty, he's come to play. I have a quote here, a very well-known quote we all know and love. It really represents how he's playing. You always cook the juiciest chicken with a nice fresh lime. Now, tell me about it and what that means.
Jail's been playing, out of his mind, similar to the juicy chicken, and this is what you need to see from your superstar. Last game wasn't his best, and the bounce back, it's what you need for these important game 5s, and they're really dominating. It's a little disappointing from Carolina, though. I thought the game was going to be, a lot closer, but there's been, crazier comebacks.
Now, Orange Panda, over to you. You tell me, what does Top Rages need to do to stop Booty from scoring these goals, and what does Siffin need to do to start scoring goals and getting Carolina on the board? Like, what does Carolina have to do here?
That's a good question. I think they really, they've lacked control of the puck so far this game, just plain and simple. I think last game, at least Carolina early on was kind of, dominating control of the puck, so they were at least, getting some breakaways, but they've really been stopped by Orlando so far. And even on the other end, we saw that last period, we saw, Camper employ an interesting defensive strategy of giving space to Jail, and instead completely covering the pass and daring him to shoot. And I think even Jail was, taken off guard. We saw him stumble over the puck on the wide open break, midway through the period. But I think once he realized he was given that space, he potted those 2 goals. He did not hesitate.
Yeah, great analogy. And goes fair to any closing remarks?
It's gonna be tough for Carolina. Hopefully they can make this game interesting though and bring some offense.
Back to Youppi.
And we are indeed back for the 3rd period of this game 5. Potentially the final period of Carolina hockey this season. But, oh my goodness! Rings off the post just seconds into the period. That would have been a huge momentum shift for Carolina. But Meswith just doesn't end up finding it. As Jail looking for a shot chance there. Carolina, a great play drawn up off the faceoff, but back to business as usual as Top Rages tried to force a turn a bit too early on the boards, taken away by Jail and almost resulted in a goal against. We're back, though, as Meswith gets into the offensive zone somewhat cleanly. Jail in the corner, though, trying to break it out. Meswith pulls back to himself. Top Rages trying to pick it off. Again, loses that to Jail. Gets a little bit lucky that it fumbles out to a defender. Top Rages forcing another pull back into the zone again. Jail's just going to take it, though. Walks it right into Miemener, who's going to play it. Dump it past Jail. Now Top Rages. Pass across. No Carolina plays there. Whiffed there by shoulder. Almost enough time for Bots to pick it up. But unfortunately, not able to do so. As Packers going to play this up. Camper's right there to receive it. Siffin driving this up the boards now. Open ice ahead of him, but he is being given chase by Wad. Wad now, Packers, Mushy, whatever you want to call him. Driving this down the boards. Taken by him. Mushy, that is. But he's not able to drive into the middle. He's going to take it back down the wall. P3 from the point. Easy save for Mimi. Shots now 9-2 in favor of Orlando. Currently outscoring Carolina shots on goal. Not a good look if you're a Carolina fan. As 4 minutes now remain. And they need a huge momentum shift if they want a chance to get back in this game.
Yeah,
Siffin.
I would have to agree with that. But it just feels like Carolina almost looks like they've given up. This team looks kind of dead out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they're kind of digging their heels into the style of play that they had going into this game. Pass up for Top Raiders, but a fantastic defensive play by Jail. Jail now in the corner. Trying to stop Top Raiders on this breakout, which he's been so good at this game. Top Raiders finally wins one, gets it up for Meswith, but he's not able to get there in time. As Vizzo's going to try to break it out. Top Raiders looking for the centering pass. Jail is already there, though. Camper looking to make something happen, but now a chance sprung for Orlando. Carolina on the back check is able to recover. But Jail, again, beats a Top Raiders that's going a little too fast. I know I keep reiterating, but it's just what keeps happening. Is pass up to Top Raiders. Top Raiders pull back. Whiffs. Whiffs again. Pass across for Meswith. Meswith with a chance to shoot right into the chest of Nixies once again. They just can't seem to find the right spot on the net to shoot at. They've had a couple of opportunities this period, but they aren't making the most of them. Is now in the corner. Siffin battling with Jail, who has a good fast pull back there. Siffin. It gets centered for Jail. Tries to turn this around. Carolina. Pass across for Bots. Bots with a chance to shoot. Big save by Nixies. Another great opportunity for Carolina in transition, but they just aren't finding the back of the net on these shots that they need to convert on. As this up to Bots. Bots with another chance. Shot into the shoulder of Nixies. Another great positional save. You know, it's hard to say. It's really easy to write these off as, you know, the Carolina forwards not shooting into the empty net, but Nixies is known for having great positioning. So lots of credit to him. Carolina starting to pile up the shots, though. Chance there. Bots! And he scores! Never mind! Own goal by Doggin. Siffin gets on the board. And there's suddenly a little bit of life here.
All of a sudden, the shots are 9-7. There's still 2 minutes left in this game. There's plenty of time for Carolina to come back. Leads have been blown quicker.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen crazier. Ghosty Ferret, I've seen you blow some crazy leads in your time. But, it's hard to say that I think that's going to happen in this playoff game. Orlando, with a pretty weak line out there on the ice, if there was a time to do it for Carolina, it might be right now.
I would definitely agree with that. As somebody who has let up 3 goals in about the span of a minute, Carolina should not count themselves out of this. They should 100%, be in the game.
You know what they say, the moment you give up, you've already lost. And Carolina, all they need to do is keep hope alive, and the chance is not zero. Moya, looking for the pass across, picked off by John Juco. It's going to be taken by John Juco, pressed into the corner. Now Siffin with a little bit of room. Cutting into the middle, pullback, Chance, trying to make some space for himself. Carolina, the forwards kind of just taking the puck from each other in a panic. This is not what you want to see with a minute left, down by 2. You need to get on the same page as soon as you can. Top Rages, trying to turn this around. Goes back to Camper. Camper on shifts. Jail with a little bit of room now. With shoulder in the middle. He goes for a double curve, but now mess with the puck. Going back down the ice. Pass across for Top Rages. Not able to find it, as Shoulder's able to recover it. Kept in the zone by Camper. Now Top Rages, putting pressure in the corner. Camper with a very deep pinch, leaving Shoulder all alone. Shoulder on a breakaway. Shot off the outside post. Doesn't end up even really hitting the post. Just kind of rings the side of it. And now Top Rages looking for a chance. P3'd into the corner. Hit there by Jail. No call on the play. Surprising no call. That hit Top Rages directly out of the way. Top Rages putting pressure on in the corner. Trying to get it in the middle. Camper with it. Chance to shoot. Shot. I don't know who saved that one. Top Rages, another chance. Stopped by Jail. And the goalie is pulled. Top Rages has to deflect this. And Mushy is going to find the back of the net. The lead extends to 3 with 14 seconds remaining. As Shoulder XD starts telling them to pack their bags. Just holy, what an unfortunate sequence of events for Carolina. Many shot opportunities, couldn't find anything.
Yeah, definitely, probably, a call that Carolina would want to go in their favor. But at the end of the day, I feel like they still had a lot of chances to shoot. A lot of, especially in this third period, that Nikes, he stood on his head. He made some really nice positional saves. But unfortunately, it's going to be Carolina's season here. Orlando will go to the finals.
Yep, and we're going to have a face-off violation on Doggin. I'm not really sure what he did. He was the defender. He probably did something. Siffin pulling it back to nobody, and Bots is in the goal. I'm not sure when that happened. Mimi has decided to tap out for the game. And that'll do it. The Orlando Storm have clinched their spot in the BHL Cup Finals to face off against the Boston Grizzlies once again, a rematch of Season 26. Thank you all for watching. This has been a fantastic series to cast. Thank you everybody on the desk, 7 Josh behind the camera. And we will see you in the BHL Cup Finals. Have a great night, everybody.